Hi, I'm Callum from Tyne Valley Motorhomes, and this is the handover of the Chausson Titanium Premium 650. So starting my walk round on the driver's side of the vehicle first. The first point you've got is your external gas point. So this is where you would plug in and use the bottle on board instead of carrying a spare to power your external barbecue, Caddock or awning heater. So you'll need a gas spigot and some gas hosing and some Jubilee clips to join them all together to connect to your gas appliance, and then turn your red tap on to allow the gas through to your appliance. You've got your two fridge vents, your awning light, and then this customer's had a C-rail fitted to them, but they don't come with a C-rail or an awning from standard. This has been an accessory that we've put on here at the dealership. WC, so you've got your toilet, so ensuring that the blade's closed on the bottom bowl of the toilet first, then you'll be able to lift this handle and slide it out. You lift the handle so you can drag it to your waste disposal point, which is beside the toilet block normally on site. Remove the cap, press the orange button there, allows a bit of air in, keeps it flowing consistently. Tip it out. Once you've tipped it out, put some water in, put the cap back on, give it a rinse, tip out again. Then if you're using the liquid form of chemical, the cap full, so this is 120 ml maximum capacity, and it'll go in there, and then you can push it back into the vehicle. Or if you're using the tablet form, put the cassette in completely dry, open the blade, flush a pint of water into the cassette, followed by a tablet, which is either the blue or the green, but ask your site which tablet or chemical they prefer you to use. Most sites will now want you to use the green rather than the blue. And then underneath you've got your waste water outlet, so anything you've put down the plug hole goes into this holding tank. You'd simply drive over the grid on the way out on the motorhome service pitch, pull the handle, and that'll allow all the water out the vehicle that you've used. It's very important in the winter you drain this off as well, as you wouldn't want this water to freeze in the tank, because it would split the tank and the pipes and cause a lot of damage. In the back you've got your garage, which you can't access from inside the rear washroom, but it is heated. You've got a light on there, tethering points, and then you do have a 12-volt cigarette socket and a 3-pin plug, which will obviously work when you're hooked up. Coming round to the back, you've got your high-level brake light and reverse camera. You've got your bars on the back where it's been strengthened to take a bike rack in the back panel, and then should you ever get parking sensors fitted to it, you can get them fitted here, and it'll give you that factory look. But also in the corner, so this is the flue for the water heater, so when heating the water on gas, this cover must come off. So you simply just lift it off, give it a tap to put it on, peel it off, and then when you're heating on electric or you're traveling, you can put this cover back on. But when heating on gas, this cover must come off, as it allows the fumes out. On this side of the garage is where your boiler is located. So just behind this panel here, it's on Velcro, so you can just take the panel off. Your boiler's behind here, so it holds 10 litres of hot water at any one time. In the winter, it's very important that you drain it off, and to drain it off, you'd use this orange tap here. And what you do is you just lift it up, the water will flow directly out underneath the chassis. Leave it stood up during the time you've got the vehicle stood up in the winter to stop the water from freezing. You'd open the fresh and the waste and open all the taps within the vehicle to stop any water from freezing in any pipelines, and to stop any air from building up, causing any airlocks. So stand it up, because if you didn't and water did freeze in the boiler, it's not covered under warranty, unfortunately, as it's your responsibility to drain it down and protect it from frost. Here I've got your cold water feed outside shower. So you get a hose with the trigger gun, the other end pops into there, and as long as the pump's on inside on the control panel, you'll get pressurized cold water. This locker here is called your Technibox locker. So at one side you've got your freshwater filler. So you get a hose pipe, fill until you can see how much is inside, or you can see on the control panel how much water is on board, or until it simply overflows and you've got a full tank. But you do have this little lever here. So this is your travel drain. So say you've got a full tank of water and you're ready to start traveling again. You're going to have an hour's journey ahead of you, or a few hours, and you don't want to be traveling around with that extra weight because it'll use more fuel. It'll also mean that you can't put as much items on board because of payload. What you can do is you can lift this up, turn the pump on and open the tap at the same time, and it will drain it down from a full tank to 20 litres. So you've still got enough to stop off and have a cup of tea, or to stop off and use your own toilet. There's still going to be water on board, but you're just going to be a little bit lighter, so you're better on fuel and better on payload. To this side you've got all your trips. So this is your RCD unit with your trips. You've got all your 12 volt fuses, so it would be a good idea to carry some spares. And then on this model you've got 2 extra fuses here. So these are the fuses for the Webasto diesel heater. So if you go below a quarter of a tank, or there's a problem with an airlock in the diesel feed for the Webasto heater, what you can do is turn it off, come out, lift the fuses out, put the fuses back in, which will reset it, and then you can turn it back on. And if you get a solid green light on the Webasto diesel heater, it's working. If you don't, then it's indicating that there's a fault with the heating unit. Underneath this box, underneath the van, is where you'll drain off the last 20 litres of that water, or from a full tank if you don't want to use a travel drain. And simply get underneath the vehicle, and just back here underneath behind the pipe you've got a 15mm plumber's compression fitting on the end of a hose. You just pull that off there and it'll drain all the water out. Say you've taken on contaminated water, or you just want to drain the tank for the winter, you just pull this off the pipe. And next to it you have your mains hookup point. So to hook the vehicle up, you get your hookup blade, lift the collar, expose the ends, hook the van up first, then the power source, and do it in reverse when unhooking. And then there's a small blue clip that you push down on the left hand side when unhooking the vehicle. At the front, beside the passenger door, is where the LPG locker is situated, so you can fit one 6 kilogram propane colour bottle in here. And then you'd ensure that you strapped it in with the straps provided. To connect the pigtail to the bottle, you'd need a gas spanner or an adjustable wrench, and it's a left hand thread, and you'd hand tighten and you turn on and off from the top. Always turn it off when you travel and turn it back on when you arrive on site. On the passenger door you've got your diesel filler point here, and it's a capless system, so it's called an easy fill on the Fords, and you simply push it open with the diesel nozzle and fill with fuel. And underneath, because it's a new style diesel engine, it's got adblue. So the adblue system sprays the catalytic converter out at a certain temperature to get rid of the soot and the buildup of carbon particles. And then what you want to do is, when it comes up that it needs it, so it'll need it every 5,500 miles from a full tank, which is around 19 litres, you'd simply pull into a forecourt. They'll have it on the pump now, or you can buy it in the drums and top this up. It's very important that you do top it up, because it'll give you a mileage countdown. When it gets halfway through that mileage countdown, it'll go into limp mode to protect the engine, which is 50 mile an hour max speed. and if it goes completely to zero, the engine simply won't start, and you'll need Ford to come out and top your AdBlue up and then start it from a computer. So it's very important that you top this up when the light does come on. Underneath this seat is where your leisure battery lives, and your engine battery lives underneath the driver's seat on a Ford. To open the bonnet on the Ford, you use the key. So you pop the key in on the front, turn to the left to pop the bonnet, and then turn to the right to lift the bonnet. And then on the left hand side you've got most of your fluids. So you've got your screen wash, your engine oil filler and dipstick, brake fluid, coolant. To jump start the vehicle, you'd earth off the engine hoist, which is this loop here, and you'd put your positive just underneath this point here on there. All your fuses for the engine side are in here, and then your weight plate is here. So it's 3.5 ton gross vehicle weight, 3.5 ton train weight. You can tow 750, which is 750 kilograms with an automatic Ford, but you have to come back to your dealer to get the tow bar fitted, because it's got to be a Trigano tow bar, which is part of Chausson, because this plate has to be changed to make you road legal, and if you fit any other tow bar it voids your warranty. So you have to come through a Chausson dealer to get a Trigano tow bar, which is approved by your warranty and changes your weight plate so that you're road legal. Next to the habitation door is where you'll find your 12 volt control panel. So if you're not hooked up, you'll only have 12 volt off your leisure battery. If you are hooked up, this little light will be on, indicating that you've got 240 volt. And then you've got your master switch here, so you can turn the motorhome on with the green light, press and hold until it goes out and it turns it off. And then next to it you've got your lights. So you must have your lights on to work your igniter on your cooker. Your drop down bed and all your lights are then individually switched around the van, but this must be on to send the main feed to them. And then next to it you do have the one of the tap, which is your pump. So making sure you've got enough water on board first, turning this on, and then pressurize the outside shower, the taps inside, the toilet and the shower on board. Your awning light on the outside, which is this button here, and then these 4 buttons correspond with these going down the side. So you've got, starting off with the one of the truck at the top, which is your Ford engine battery reading, and then you've got the one of the trailer, which is the leisure battery reading. You've got the water symbol, which is your fresh water reading, so you can see you've just got under a full tank of fresh water, and when this goes red it indicates that it's gone to red and needs to be refilled. And when the bottom one goes to red, it means the waste is full and requires to be emptied. So you'd pull the lever behind the back wheel and it will drain the waste off. Top rate your diesel heating, so you can use your diesel heating when running. So when you're driving you can have it on if your passengers in the back are cold, or you're simply away in the winter and you want to preheat the motorhome, you can have this on when driving. And you'd simply, to operate, you simply just turn all the way to full. This will start the combustion of the heater. Don't worry if your lights start flickering, it's just that the heater is fed from the light circuit and takes such a high voltage of 12 volt through it. Some of your lights can start flickering if the battery's a bit low. Started at full, it'll start the combustion quicker and then adjust the temperature after 5 minutes to the temperature that you want the vehicle to be. And when this light goes to a flashing light, it indicates that there's a fault and you need to investigate with those fuses and see if you can get it working. But always remember, your diesel heater must have a quarter of a tank of diesel or more in the main tank for this to work, as they're on different levels from the main tank feed for the Ford engine to this feed for the heater. But your lights, so 2 little rocker switch, one light is your blue light at the bottom, and the other is your white lights for behind the mirror and above the kitchen area. So in the kitchen area you've got 2 lit gas rings here, and then to the left hand side on mains electric you've got your electric hot plate, which will indicate by the red light that it's on. So if you're on a site, don't waste your gas, use your electric hot plate. And then you do have your cooker, and above you've got your grill. You may want to remove your oven shelf and grill pan when travelling, or wrap them up to stop the noise when on the road. Got some storage in here. You'll notice there's 2 gas taps in here. Any problems with gas, turn the bottle off to be safe. These are mainly for when the vehicle is annually habitation serviced. Got your cutlery drawer. And then you do have 2 USBs for charging your devices, your drop down switch for your electric table, a 3-pin plug when hooked up, this will work, and your electric drop down switch for the bed. I'll get onto more of these, how to make the drop down bed and how to make the lounge bed in a moment. Above the kitchen you've got storage in this one and storage in here, but in here you have 2 important switches. So these are to heat your hot water. So you've got Truma boiler gas, Truma boiler EL electric. You've got to be hooked up for this to work. So on the gas, the cover on the back panel of the vehicle at the top must be off for this to work, and you've got 2 settings, so making sure you've got enough water and the boiler is holding water and you've got water on board. You've got off in the middle, you've got 50 degrees at the top, and you've got 70 degrees at the bottom. So you'd normally use 50 degrees if you were showering in the vehicle, and or should I say 50 degrees if you were showering in the vehicle, and 70 degrees if you were doing the dishes. And then on this side you've got the Truma boiler EL, which you've got 1 kilowatt at the top and 2 kilowatts at the bottom. And by all means, if you're away in the winter and you are in desperate need of hot water, you can have the boiler on electric and gas at the same time, and it will just reduce the time it takes to heat your water. So gas side on the left hand side, and on the right hand side you've got the electric side. So to work your Dometic fridge freezers, so you've got a separate freezer box and then a large fridge. It's all controlled through this panel here. So turning on and off, you just press and hold the button here. A stands for automatic energy selection, so the brain of the fridge chooses what best source you have on offer. So at the moment we're hooked up and we do have a gas bottle on, and it's when to hook up, which is the plug. If I was to unhook the vehicle, it would go to the gas flame, and then if I was to start the engine, it would go to the 12 volt setting, which is a feed off the engine alternator, which makes the fridge like a giant cool box and keeps it at the temperature it was previously at. So what you'll need to do is pre-chill it on electric first if you're keeping it on the driveway at home, or if you're moving from site to site you'll probably have already pre-chilled it anyway because you'll have shopping on board. But if you wanted to manually override this, you would just press the square button and the A will disappear, and then it's on 240 volt, so it'll act like a household fridge. It's on battery there and it's filled with the code 6, which means it's receiving no 12 volt because the engine's off. And then if you press again, it goes to the gas and self-ignites. Put your temperature here, and then you've got this setting here, which basically puts a bit of heat around here and stops the rubber from sticking to the freezer when the freezer and fridge is on permanently, say for a couple of days holiday. You didn't want the rubber to stick to here. When you are finished with it and you're winterising the vehicle, you're not using it anymore, you're putting it away. Obviously you do your water, your fresh, your waste, your boiler, all your taps open throughout the vehicle. It's very important that you do the fridge and freezer as well. So you take everything out, clean it out, and then the last thing you want to do is shut the door because it forms an airtight seal. So underneath the catches, so you've got one there and one there, you've got these little toggles. And they go into these little slots here. So they go into the locators there. And what that does is it stops the door from shutting on itself and air goes in and out. When it is closed and it is full and you're moving to site, you can lock it using this little lock here, which is your travel lock. Underneath you've got the gas tap for the fridge, but like I've said about the gas taps, these are mainly for when it's habitation serviced, and you've got a bit of storage in there. And then above, these vans don't come with TV aerials. This is what the customers opted for. So you've got a status 570 TV aerial. So when it's shown green, it means it's picked up a signal. You've got a booster on there, so you can boost and weaken the signal should it be too strong or too weak. But should that be yellow or red, what you need to do is you need to loosen the nut off, push the stem up, and then use the toggle to direct the aerial. But what I would do is look where the other motorhomes and caravans on your site are pointing and point your aerial in a similar direction, and you should get a good enough signal without messing on for too long. But when travelling, or should I say before you start travelling, make sure the aerial's pulled in and that the nut is tightened so it stops the aerial from blowing up should it be caught by any wind. You'll also notice you've got a 12 volt point at the back of this cupboard as well, and some storage in here. As this is a titanium premium, it comes with a Project 2000 slide out bracket, so you've got a little button here that you press to release the locator to slide it out, and you can fit your TV on there. And then as this customer's had a TV aerial fitted, there's a coax cable coming from the back where you'll find another 12 volt point for a 12 volt TV, and you've got a mains 240 volt socket in there. And then coming into the bathroom, so you've got your light switch underneath the counter, which is probably the most asked question, where's the light switch? And there it is, little rocker switch. Toiletry cabinet, put your toilet rolls in there. This slides along, blocks the window, is a mirror, and opens the toiletry cabinet. And then to open all your windows, you just press the buttons in, push it out. You need to push all the windows out to bring them in as they're on stairs. Fly screen, blackout blinds, and then in the middle, if you pinch, you can depart the two. This obviously shows your water pump working, and that's on hot. So your hot water is coming through there, that water is warm. That indicates that your hot water system is working correctly. And then operate the toilet. So you've got the blue button here, so ensuring the pump's on, pressing the blue button at the back flushes the toilet. So you'll always flush the toilet first to lubricate the seal on the blade, stop it going brittle. And then what you want to do is slide this to the right, use the toilet with the blade open, flush after use, and then slide it to the left, which closes the blade and means you can get it out the outside of the van should it be full, and you'll get lights on here underneath the diagram of the cassette to say it is full. You've got access to the garage here, and then behind the wardrobes, obviously you've got one of your infill cushions there for your bed. You'll probably not house that when you're using the vehicle. But what you do have is you have these straps to keep everything back. And then you have slide out drawers. And then you still have some space in the middle to accommodate other items when you're travelling on your longer trips away. Opposite the toilet you do have your shower. So when winterizing, if you remove your shower head from your hose and allow the hose to lie in the tray with the mixer tap open, and then above it you've got a hanging rail for wet towels, wet coats, extra storage. If you're going on a longer trip, you can obviously put hangers on here and hang items in there. And then to open this skylight, so you've got lock and unlock it, twist this will open it, so you lock it when you are travelling. And then you do have a fly screen and a blackout blind. In the front lounge, to drop the table and lower the bed, you've got two switches in the kitchen. So the switch on the right drops the table first. So dropping the table first, then you can press the bed switch. Which brings the bed down. And in the lowest position, this is the bed in the lowest position now, which is just above your waist. As it's a titanium premium, you get more of a quality mattress, so you get the memory foam mattress. And then should you stop it further up, you've got these 2 points here, which you can put the ladder on and make the bed underneath. But then if you're putting children in it, you'd connect the nets to these points on the outside of the frame, and then these on the ceiling just to stop them rolling out. And these little lights are individually switched, so there's a little button on both. Then taking the bed up out the way, to make the bed underneath, you use the table. So you would pull the table over, so the table just pulls around, pull the extension out and then flip the top over. Then you'd use the bigger cushion at the front and push that right to the cab, and that'll overhang the table slightly. And then you'd use this funny shaped cushion which has got a leg on it, so pull the leg to the right, which will fold it down, and that'll go on here like so. And then doing the same with this one, it's got a leg on it. This will sit on the edge of the table. And there you've made your additional second double bed, as this is a 4-berth, 4-belted vehicle, as it's got the smart lounge and it's got 2 fold-up seats underneath here, which I'll show you how to assemble in a minute. So to make the smart lounge, if you remove the cushions first, and then you'll need to use this cushion and this cushion, so the ones on the left hand side you want to use. Turn this back, which will bring the base up, and you've got isofix there, so if you were carrying children, grandchildren, car seats can clip on to the crash base now. Put the base cushion back on by removing the bigger cushion, and put the backrest on underneath there, and then your head restraint is in the floor. You can put that on the top of the seat, and then you've got your belt on your right hand side. Now in your cab, so on the right, the driver, obviously you've got your handbrake, which I've been through. You've got your electric windows. This locks the door, but when the horn indicates something's open. You've got your automatic lights and headlight adjustment, front and rear fogs, and your speedo, so this will dim the main control panel on the speedo. So should it be too bright or should it be too dark, you can brighten it when the lights are on. You've got your mirror adjustment. I've got all your phones, so this goes through the trip computer in the middle there. If I just pop it on for you, this will go through all the trips. You've got your hands-free and skip the track or radio channel. You've got your voice command, you've got your cruise control, speed limiter and your volume, obviously with it being an automatic. And you've got your manual, you adjust, so should you want to intervene. Mode will either give you normal or eco, and this will turn your traction control off. You've got your fan speed, your temperature, where you want the air to circulate to, your recirculating button, your aircon, your heated front windscreen, because it's with it being Ford, it's got the heated front windscreen, which is brilliant in the winter, and this turns on and off. Hazards, 12 volt, start stop, off and on, so when you put your foot on the brake with the auto, it'll automatically cut off, and then as soon as you lift off it will bring the engine back in, but you can turn that off. We'll only do that if there's sufficient charge in the battery. Locks a glove box. Obviously got 12 volt up here, which is handy for a sat nav, and a phone holder. And then you do have, with the new Accent head unit, for your navigation, should the card be in, which it's not, but it'll be in on the day of collection. You've got the radio, which you can scan for. You've got DAB, which you can scan for as well. Bluetooth, so to pair your phones, Bluetooth. So you just camera, I'll bring on the main camera at the back, but you do have all these buttons as well at the bottom, so Bluetooth. It will just need to go into settings and set the phone up for you. Go and set up. Go on the audio settings, the TFT, which is your screen, your camera, so you can put a delay on it. You can go other. And there's obviously your volume. And then you do have your blinds, so pinch them, slide them down. Pinch, slide along, they'll go behind the mirror, so you can do that on both sides. And then they just clip magnetically there, and then this one will slide down like so. And that's how you'd black the carb out. So to connect to the head unit, you would find Accent and search on your smart device, find Accent, and then press pair on here and press pair on your device, and then it will ask you if you want to sync your phone book. Press yes, so then whoever calls you will come up here and you'll be able to answer on the steering wheel or by the screen.